Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Tonight we got a little bit of Farscape for you. We had some fun yesterday doing the watch along with Faulty Towers, and tonight we're going to talk about the first three episodes of Farscape. It first debuted in 1999 in March of '99 here in the States with the premiere, and it was one of the shows that kind of caught my imagination. It was different from anything that was on at the time. It was on the Sci-Fi channel, and I have Probably Lee here with me to discuss the show. I'm going to bring Lee on right now.
Hello.
Hello, Lee. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, looking forward to this. It's such a fun show and deserves to be praised and for more people to either know about it or to discuss it more. And because it's it's a very good science fiction entertainment show that we've somewhat been lacking in recent years. I think it's not so po-faced and serious and. Everything's apocalyptic, and it's well, it has elements of that, but it has humor to it,
yeah,
color.
Exactly. Brian Henson, Jim Henson's son, in charge with his production company.
Yeah,
and the creatures that some are better than others. I found myself kind of forgetting Rigel's
yeah.
a puppet, and it was just more like just another character.
Oh, he's great. He's such a great character. He's like the villa of of Farscape, because from Blake's Own. He's
Right.
got that sort of comic relief, and he's also got the arrogance of Avon in there as well.
It's got a dark side too to it.
Yeah, exactly that, and to get that kind of characterization out of a bit of latex rubber, it's great, and it's common, and it has the kind of Muppets quality to it, but without the over the top zaniness. It's very nuanced, which I love, and very alien, and to get some kind of character out of physical movement from a puppet effectively, it's takes so much talent and control and technology really to bring it to life, and that really does work with this, and it's beautifully done. Done.
Well, I got to be honest, as the seasons went on, some of them as it went on towards the fourth season, I didn't quite like those as much as the earlier ones, but I still love the series overall. But once some people started leaving and they started bringing in other characters, I liked them a little less than the originals. But since we're talking about, do you want to get started now talking about the first one?
Well, let's welcome Chris Persia in the chat there. Our great wrench of wrenches.
Okay, there he is.
Yeah.
Hello, Chris.
A lover of Farscape there. It's great.
How did
I get a wrench?
I set it up that way. That's why.
There you go. Whether you wanted it or not, it's just like, it's a given, isn't it? If you see Chris Persia, he's got to have a wrench. Otherwise, it's not Chris Persia. It's like some fake account. It's like, well, he hasn't got a blue wrench, so it's got to be a sock puppet troll account. It's not right not seeing it with his name without a blue wrench. It's weird. Yeah, so we'll start with premiere.
Yeah, the cleverly named.
Yeah.
First.
Well, it's funny that of all the things that they could have literally have called pilot and made it make sense, they didn't do that. So I just thought that was quite amusing.
So they start out with on Earth with John, who's a member of NASA.
Or IASA.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like the international eras. Yeah, because maybe they had a copyright issue with the name, I suppose. Or it's a futuristic internationalist version of NASA. So it's IASA. Yeah, International Aeronautics and Space Administration.
I'm looking for something here.
Yeah. So we sort of get introduced to him through what turns out to be his father, don't we? Who's like high up in the IASA, and he's sort of talking him through this experimental shuttlecraft that they want to experiment with, and it's called Farscape. And it's to check out this new drive, isn't it, that they've engineered?
Right. And he sort of has, you get the impression he loves his father, but he has sort of daddy issues because he's had a hard time of living up to his father's reputation.
Yeah, he's like, his dad's a badass, and he's got like a lot to live up to, and he wants to make him proud. So he's got a lot to prove. So he wants to kind of, this is where he gets himself into trouble, because he starts to push himself with the craft. So when he goes off into orbit, all these things are going wrong, and he just keeps pushing it anyway. So that's him. Daddy Crichton and John
Played
Crichton.
by Kent McCord. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
No.
He had as an actor has been around for a long time before he did Farscape. He was in a police series called Adam 12. That's probably sort of how he's known for a lot here. That was the 70s, I believe.
Okay.
But
he's got fantastic hair. It was like a Gillette advert, man, that kind of thing. Like the silver fox thing happening. Yeah. It's a great cast. And is it Kent McCord?
Kent McCord, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see him later again. But
no, that's not. That's Jack Crichton. So John Crichton is Ben Browder, isn't it? Ben Browder.
John's Ben Browder, right?
Yeah, and I never seen him in anything before. I don't recall, but he's got like the your sort of very archetypal, good-looking lead man thing going on, the blue eyes and the blonde hair, and he's a really good actor. I really enjoy it because he's quite good at being the sort of bumbling but sort of brave hero, isn't he?
Yeah, he can do the comedy stuff, but he's also a decent serious actor.
Yeah,
when he needs to be.
Yeah, so he gets kind of this drive thing ends up sort of zapping him through a wormhole, doesn't it? And he just ends up somewhere else. It's very it was screaming at me, Buck Rogers. It's very Buck Rogers, the whole sort of lost in space kind of thing. The single man in a lone space shuttle somehow projected either into the future or far into space, or whatever. That's again another sort of science fiction archetypal trait. But it's fascinating because he just ends up right in the middle of a battle, doesn't he?
Right, and that comes to be a pretty important plot point in the coming stories and stuff.
Yeah.
Whole season, because it turns out that as he comes out of the wormhole, he ends up accidentally hitting the pilot, who's a brother of the Commander Crace.
Yeah.
Who is part of the well, I don't know if you call them the bad guys, but
well, I suppose it's very in the same, because I believe Farscape was very influenced by Blake 7. So you've got the evil Federation type, haven't you? Wearing their black uniforms, and it again very reminiscent of Travis, that kind of character.
And he ends up accidentally killing his brother.
Yep, not the start.
Right off the bat. And so
it's a complete accident, but he the guy
has a vendetta against him.
Yeah, he's just like, well, too bad. Captain Byler Crace, yeah. So he gets all vengeful, but he gets pulled into a tractor beam, doesn't he, by this alien ship, and he's just like,
by
wow,
Moya.
yeah, the Leviathan Moya, which is a beautiful organic sort of biomechanic ship, isn't it? It's sort of a lot, again,
Right.
a bit like Lex, another sort of biological super ship. And I think the design of this is gorgeous. And then he meets these crazy, very disparate group of misfits who've escaped prison again, like Blake Seven. All of them sort of very different from each other, different species. So you can go on from there.
There's Zan, which I have on the screen now, who has actually a plant-based
Yeah,
life
Virginia
form.
Hay, Australian
Right.
actress. Yeah,
And who's kind of like a Zen Buddhist type.
yeah, she's a Delvian. Yeah, she's a sort of empath, a bit like Callie from Blake Seven.
Seen a lot of Blake Seven similarities here.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's definitely influenced by Blake Seven. I think there's no. It's kind of got like Blake Seven meets Buck Rogers meets Star Trek. You know, definitely got those sort of throwbacks. But I want to emphasize it's got a totally different tone to Blake Seven. It's a totally different tone to Star Trek and all that. It's very much its own beast. And again, I suppose you got like Firefly and things which are also quite similar, again based on Blake Seven. So Blake Seven has been very influential, I'd say. Yeah, go on, Karen.
That's all right. There's Dargo, who is another one of the convicts who are on there.
A Luxon warrior. Yeah.
And he's sort of the badass of the group and always has to be the alpha male.
Mm-hmm. He's a bit like a sort of Viking type alien, isn't he? Sort of like a warrior. Yeah, he's a really interesting character. He's quite. They make him out to be quite. Very sort of hot-headed and grumpy and aggressive, and a bit not the brightest spark. But I think that's a bit. I wouldn't say he's stupid at all. I think he's just very, very, masculine and just full free. Yeah. He's just just blusters his way through everything.
And when Crichton first gets there, he's hearing them in their original, how they're actually speaking in their tongue, and one of the DRDs shoots him with the little microbes, which allows him to understand everybody.
Yeah, they got these little robot things, like little 3-finger things, like with eye lights, and one of them's broken. He breaks it, doesn't he, somehow, and then he fixes it later. Yeah. But they're like little scuttle bugs from Red Dwarf. It reminds me of that.
So they give him the translator microbe or whatever, and then he slowly starts to understand them in English, what everybody's saying. And they don't, at first, they're not happy that he's on board.
Yep. Immediately suspicious. I mean, they brought him aboard anyway, so I don't know what they're complaining about.
Yeah.
But yeah, they treat him as because he looks like a human type.
Sebation.
Yeah, they think he's some sort of whatever the evil federation's called. I should check really what they're called. Can't remember.
Peacekeepers.
Yeah, that's it. Peacekeepers. Yeah, which when you think about it, is a bit of a strange name to call. But I suppose if you're having a sort of a galactic kind of fascist organization, you want to keep the peace, i.e., to keep everyone under check and control. It's very much like the evil federation. And then I love this guy.
And this is he's just outside the cell. They've just thrown John in with another captured person who we don't know who it is because they have the helmet on first.
Yeah. And this is a Domino Rigel, the 16th, who is royalty, but they've all been like escaped convicts, basically. Yeah. So he's a deposed ruler.
He wants to get his throne back.
Yeah, and he is the comic relief because he's such a duplicitous character as well, so arrogant and narcissistic, and he thinks he's wonderful. Especially later on, we see him drawing making a painting of himself. It's just so funny.
It's like you said, like he's sort of like Villa.
Yeah. Very much like the comic relief character, like Villa and Blade 7. Yeah. But a wonderful alien creation, and that's the great thing with puppetry like this is it's practical, real world effects. So it's all in camera, and and so he's kind of got that kind of Yoda kind of quality to his movements. He's got that kind of diminutive figure, and he's great. He's great. And then we come across this character who we first see her. We don't know who it is, and she's badass. Kicks John around a lot.
She takes off her helmet, and he's look pretty nice.
Yeah, he thinks, "Oh, I went well in here."
Gets up, and then she like kicks his ass and throws him on the ground, and postures over top of him here.
Yeah,
Aaron Soon.
Yeah, and she's great. She's really, really good. She's beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and she looks great. And she's just totally indoctrinated into the peacekeeping sort of mentality. So she's the enemy, and she lets him bloody know it. But I think there's some chemistry there already, even though she's probably not aware of it yet.
Played by Claudia Black, who does a really good job.
She is great. There's a strong female character without all the nonsense.
Yeah. So, what do they get after that?
God, yeah. God, you're asking me now to go back because I watched this a couple of weeks ago now.
Well, basically, he after they.
But I think
they're getting attacked by the peacekeepers.
Yeah, because Craig found out his brother's been killed by this spacecraft, so he wants to know more about it, and so they try and identify him, don't they? So they have to try and get the ship to escape, don't they? So to get away from them, they're in pursuit. So they have to find a way of escaping them because they're sort of catching up on them. So he has to use a sort of special slingshot maneuver or something to use the gravity of the planet to get away.
Well, first they go down to the planet.
Yes.
To get supplies or something, or.
That's right, and it's great. It's a great little scene on the planet, and they're sort of bonded together, and because Christ sees her with him, so she becomes immediately
impure,
impure or something. Yeah, so they get sort of manacled together and thrown in jail, and then they make their escape. And she has to decide what she wants to do, whether she wants to sort of just cease to exist or something, doesn't she? Because she's impure, but they escape. He helps her escape, so she's kind of indebted to him, I think.
She's seems like she's fighting it for a while, but then she kind of sees his Crichton's values or morals or whatever, and I think he kind of like grows on her, and she starts to trust him.
Yeah, she's a bit of an ice maiden at first, isn't she? And she's by the book, but she realizes that she's got nowhere else left to go. So it's either fight or flight, and
she does to tuck in with the group then.
Yeah, it's quite interesting how they sort of, tacitly have to kind of bond over the situation, but then no one seems to trust each other. Very much again, like, and I keep harping on about it, but it is very much a very similar situation with Blake 7, because you had that kind of dichotomy between the characters where they, just don't trust each other, and they have to sort of force each other to work together to escape the clutches of the evil powers that be. And of course we meet Pilot as well. He was one of the greatest, I think, alien designs on a TV show I think I've seen. It looks like it belongs in Star Wars, this big blue multi-armed kind of pilot that's sort of symbiotically implanted into the ship that operates Moya and a sort of
Also voiced by Lanny Tupu, or the guy who plays Grace.
Really?
Yes.
Well, that's interesting.
He's the voice of Pilot.
Wow. Yeah, and it's a nice introduction. It's you've got some great little characters there. There's, very, as I said, very disparate, very disjointed. It shouldn't work, but it kind of does. So yeah, he employs the same sort of theory he used for the Farscape shuttle to get the hell out of there, and they managed to get back on the ship. There's still a shuttle or something, and that's it. I think that's
escape, and basically, by doing all that, he's starting to grow on him. He's starting to prove that he's valuable.
He's not. He's not one of them. He's not a peacekeeper.
Yeah.
The peacekeeper's not one of them anymore. Because the ship, I think, had been sort of disabled in some way, hadn't it, or something, and they managed to work out how to get it to.
Well, every ship is fitted with like a control collar or something
exactly.
to keep it under control. So if once removed, then it would have free will they could do whatever they wanted then.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what's happening in our next episode. They're going about trying to free Pilot from the control.
Yeah. And it's and I just have to say, like, I love the set and I love the design of the costumes and the makeup and the prosthetics and the puppets, and it's just so beautifully made. And look, we know it's from the 1990s, late 90s,
99.
Yeah, so the VFX are somewhat clunky, but it doesn't distract from the story, and it still looks visually very beautiful because of the designs are very strong. And they have a bit of a gauze filter, so it all looks a bit sort of like, glowy and, slightly fuzzy. So it's not, jarring at all. And it looks in space. It looks nice.
It's a good, as far as first premieres go, it's good. Like you said, it's a decent story, and all the character setups are really good, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's for an introduction story, it's really focusing on the characters and their motivations and the setup to bring them together. And it's a setup, like most pilot stories are. It's a setup, and it's very quickly paced as well. There's no lag.
Cover a lot of stuff and
yeah, and you fall in love with the characters instantly. That's the sign of a good strong characters, good writing, is that who everyone is almost immediately, right? And you're on board with them. You're rooting for them. The threat is there instantly, and you're with the protagonist from the beginning, and you kind of want him to succeed, and then these other characters are such strong, great characters, and all very different from each other. So there's plenty to look at, and plenty to unravel as time goes on. And it's very endearing. I think it's got a certain charm to it, which I think is really important in this kind of happy science fiction where it's not so damn serious. And you've got like plenty of sort of comic, and it's not comedy in the same way that Red Dwarf is, and it isn't as dystopian as Blake Seven is. But you've got a happy medium in there. It's kind of a bit Orville second season kind of vibe to it, if you know what I mean, like that. Slightly comical, not as comical as the first one, but you know, you've got that that sort of colourful lightheartedness to it, which I think is really good for this kind of show.
Yeah. Nice blend.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's go to the second one.
Yeah, the second one, IET.
IET. So they're working on getting okay, so a peacekeeper beacon goes off and Moya has to land on an alien planet to prevent its signal being intercepted and Moya being discovered. So Crichton, Dargo, and Aaron leave Moya and explore the planet in search of a substance that can be used to numb Moya's senses, because taking this, thing off is very painful for the ship.
Yeah.
So that's the main reason for heading down to the planet, and they're sort of not very advanced, or they're just beginning to explore like the possibilities of alien life or whatever. So when they John shows up there, he's like the first alien life that these people have seen.
I'm just hold on a minute. I'm just looking something up here. Okay. Right. So the weird thing is, this is a slight fuck up for me, because I've got this on Amazon, and annoyingly, the second episode is called Exodus from Genesis.
That's the third episode for me.
That's bizarre. Like, oh my god. So like, so for the UK, I don't know why, it's different. So that's bizarre. That's throw a spanner in the works, isn't it? Oh, fuck you. Oh god. What, like, why? Why do they do that? Jeez. So so for me, the first 3 episodes are Premiere, Exodus from Genesis, and Back and Back and Back to the Future.
Really?
Yeah. I kid you not. That's how it's listed here.
Well, let me check. Well, even the production codes, that wouldn't be right. According to what I have, it's Premiere, IET, and Exodus from Genesis. That's 1, 2, and 3 as far as production order and air order in the United States.
Well, that's very odd. So I guess what we can do is you can talk about IET, and then we can talk about Exodus from Genesis. And when we come around to the Exodus from Genesis again, we can just touch upon it a bit from there. Sorry about this, folks. I had no idea. I was
Back to the Future is number 5 for me.
And number 5 is PK Tech Girl here.
That's 7 for me.
Wow,
we ran into this with sliders too.
Really? Why did they do that? I don't understand.
Well, in that case, it was just a matter of production code versus airing order or whatever. Some of them like filmed first but were shown later or something like that, and so they had a different order.
Well,
on different.
I tell you what, from now on in, we'll do it your way, and you can send me a list in order of your viewing, and we'll do it that way. How's that sound?
Yeah, it sounds fine.
Yeah. What a palaver, isn't it? It's like you think, oh, this is sus. It comes down to it. Amazon decides, no, not that order, this order. You're like, all right, yeah, disorder.
Well, there's a nice, pretty picture of the planet that they're going down to.
Well, at least I get a preview of a nice, pretty planet for when I do watch it. Goodness me. So tell us about this episode.
Well, basically, like I already said, they're heading down. Basically, to find this substance they need that apparently they can only, or the closest place they can find it is this planet, and they needed to help Moya to numb the pain because Rigel was actually in there working and pulling out these wires and stuff that's connected. And every time he does that, it's causing Moya pain. So John's down there with a little device that designed to detect this, and he finds it in one like a farm area where these the people are like. She happens to be. There's a lady and her son that live there, and she's some sort of scientist that's been conveniently enough looking for intelligent life out in the universe. And then John happens to stumble upon their farm.
Cool.
And the first one that actually finds him is her son. John's sort of hiding in the barn. And the son, these pictures looking good.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm annoyed now. I'm going to have to watch this one so I'm caught up and then get back on track with it. Thank God we're only doing this like 3 episodes at a time. So if we'd have continued like several episodes at once, then it would have been like, oh, no, I haven't watched that one. No.
Here's her son.
That's like a girl.
Interesting, but apparently he's caught this as a whole weapon or whatever because he doesn't quite trust John yet at this point. And his mother, like I said, she's also a little bit afraid because they've never experienced any foreign life like that. And meanwhile, they go back up on the ship to give you an idea what's going on there. Then you see little scene where Rigel's in a little like small crawl space, and he's bitching and complaining about having to do this. And meanwhile, Zan's trying to. We talked earlier about her being like a empath, or she can actually help share people or things, feelings, or help them with their pain. And she's actually doing that with Moya. She's in one of the corridors, like touching the walls or whatever, and trying to take some of the pain from Moya.
Chris says, wow, was that Elliot Page? And he also says it's still always simpler to follow production order in case they see the ending of one episode for the next. Yeah, I've just checked on the Farscape wiki, and there's a list of episodes there. And yes, it has the order that isn't in accordance with bloody Amazon, who will pay the consequences for their lies. So I shall. So you don't need to send me this. I've got the list in order here now. So happy days.
Zan keeps doing this for a while, and it really takes a toll on her until she has to like rest. And Aaron actually is looking after her during this time. So again, like we see the growth between characters and stuff. She's being trusted more by the group. as they decided, she's actually not a bad. They have their idea what peacekeepers are, and she's kind of like breaking the mold for, at least in her case.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was the jarring thing for me with watching it in the order that I watched it. It was just like, oh, they seem to be all best friends all of a sudden.
What did you say?
That's
Your second
unusual.
one was? Oh, the Exodus from Genesis.
Yeah, so that's the
That's
following.
one more on.
Yeah, kind of makes sense now. Annoyingly, buggeration. Okay, so what? How does that resolve then?
Well, he actually finds what he's looking for. John does. He finds the material, and I guess it's like something that's really kind of like common there. And but during this whole time, there's also a group that's on that planet that's sort of like the police or the authorities there, and if they discover John and them, they're gonna probably like lock them up or want to study him or something. So the mother and son are keeping them hidden.
It's a bit like Anna Frank sort of thing. And yeah, it's nice when you sort of flip sort of tropes, on its head, where you have the aliens being taken away for experiment, but in this case it's the aliens doing it to a human. Yeah, nice.
He's after, and this is after they captured Dargo for a little bit, but then the kid sets him free.
Can we just take a moment to appreciate those red boots? Love those. I'd wear those. Great. Dungarees, not so much.
Stop sharing. Okay. So let's see. I'm going to have to do my watch alongs or my research a lot closer to the time, because like you, this was like 3 weeks ago or a month ago whenever I watched these.
Yeah. Well, I stopped at those three because I hadn't watched Farscape in years. So I thought, well, I'll just watch the first three and fulfill my contractual obligation. And obviously, I remembered how much I really enjoyed it. But I deliberately haven't watched any further because obviously I want it as fresh in my mind as possible for very, very much the reason that we're experiencing today. With the added bonus, of course, of watching it in completely the wrong order, sort of trying to. Because my memory is shot to pieces. I am a survivor of the 1990s, put it that way. Much like Nerdrotic was a survivor of the 80s, memories shot to pieces basically. But it's all right. So what's going on here?
Well, anyhow, they make it back up to the ship with the compound that they need, and this is after Rogers finally finished doing all the work, removing all the control leads or whatever that he had to, and both him and Zan are just having a moment. They're both like wiped tired, but they're sort of having a good moment between the two or whatever. Like even after all his bitching and stuff about doing that, he came through for them and stuff. So it's they have a nice moment.
Touching.
That's pretty much it then for that. That's everything else is just a little bit of banner before they head off to their
next adventure.
Yeah.
So we have to kind of mention that the first one was written by Rockney S. O'Bannon. I guess I don't know. Rockney. Well, no. Directed by Andrew Prowse, and this one was directed by Pignol Amenta. And written by Sally Lapidus. I don't know why Americans have to have such strange names, but we'll go with it. So then we move on to Exodus from Genesis, which is one I did watch, which was my second episode, but less said about that, the better. And this was actually directed by Brian Henson himself, I guess, because it is so very heavily animatronic, written by Ro Hume. So there we go. So this was a very compelling story. I really enjoyed this one, actually, I have to say.
With the space bugs.
Yeah, it very much a sort of throwback to the sort of, aliens sort of movies, but a sort of organic life. Anyway, you start off. You start off the synopsis.
All right. Okay, well, it says Moya is invaded by spawning space bugs, which produce clones of the crew. And to complicate matters, a peacekeeper retrieval squad arrives ship, and Aaron begins to suffer heat delirium. So
because you carry.
Yeah, apparently Sebastians have a low tolerance for heat, and if they're subjected to too much of it, they can actually die from it. So
yeah, and the ship's kind of fighting it a bit like a virus, isn't it, as well? Because it's heating up, everything's heating up, and the peacekeepers can't handle it. Because I'd assumed at that point that the peacekeepers were just humans, but they clearly have a somewhat different biology.
They look human, and they all seem to have a British accent.
Yeah, strange, very peculiar. Funny that, but I guess that's the universal translator virus thing. Its default language is received pronunciation in English, as it should be, of course. And it's really quite a weird story, with clones and bugs, and and sort of a siege sort of episode, isn't it? And
they're actually the bugs are like eating Moya, aren't they?
Well, they seem to be sort of blocking up all the internal structure, like the air vents and things, in order to make it colder. Oh no, hotter to produce and spawn. But they think that because they see it as a host, but they have a hive mind, don't they? They have like a collective subconscious, and they use the sort of I think is it bloody Zan. They use Zan to communicate with, don't they? Because she's sort of empathic, so they sort of take over her body to speak through her, and they think that they're a threat to their spawning because they're trying to survive, because the heat is killing what's her face,
Aaron.
But because they're trying to save Aaron's life, the bugs think that they're trying to commit genocide against them, that they're a threat to their spawning and their survival. So they think it's like an act of war against them. So that's why they're so sort of militant, and they don't understand. But they say, look, we can help you, but that first one has all these sort of fights, don't they, with their clone selves, and it's really kind of a bit of a mad one. But when you've got the invading peacekeepers, they face they team up with the bugs, don't they, eventually, after they've been caught. They killed one. John killed one, didn't he? Like catch one and kill one. So that was like an act of aggression according to the bugs, but it's actually Rigel who actually goes through as a sort of into the bug lair to sort of hold court with the queen, and he's an ambassador type, and he's sort of farting and smells and all sorts of things. He's very sticky and gooey. But he's actually brilliant in this, isn't he? Because
it gives him a chance to do his royal thing.
Yeah, and it's so brilliantly done, and it's really comical, and you sort of write him off, don't you? You sort of underestimate him somewhat because he's such an aloof, venal kind of character, but he actually does pull through, and does his dues. He's good at what he does, and he pulls his rank, and there he is. He's sort of doing his thing against his will, by the way. He gets sort of thrown in there, doesn't he? But it's such a nuanced story that the characters are in this kind of and you don't think about it. Makes you think about how different alien cultures might perceive one another. One act of aggression, which is done in defense, because inadvertently what they're doing is putting your species at threat. But the other side see you as the aggressor because you're reacting to them, and it's like it's threatening their existence. So you have to find that balance. So in the end, they sort of use the heat thing to chase off the peacekeepers, but and all because Erin is like, okay, just do it, and they try and keep her as cool as possible. But she's like, she understands that she's got to put her life at risk in order to keep the crew safe. And then the bugs and the crew sort of join forces to fuck up the minds of these people, these peacekeepers who are already sort of tripping because they're overheating and they have to get out, and they come across multiple bug clones of the crew, John. And it freaks them out, and they can't handle it, and they're really losing their minds, so they make a bid for their escape. And then sort of just in time, the breeding thing is over with the bugs, and they clear out back into space with their new young, and the ship returns back to being cooler. So Erin survives. It's very interesting.
Good writing.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed this episode. It's one that I remembered most, I think, from my first watch years ago, and it's one of those episodes that sort of sticks in your mind because it's so very well done. It's and you really sort of get to learn more about the characters, and these two sort of become closer, sort of unspoken chemistry going on there, and it's nice to see. I mean, in my viewing order, it seemed a bit too quick, but now I know it's the third episode, so I can imagine there should be a little bit more of a build up to that. But the only thing I would say is that he doesn't seem very shit keen to get home. It's the one thing that kind of sort of makes my head sort of turn on its side. Why isn't he like? I don't know. Yeah, why isn't he trying to get home? Why isn't he doing everything he can to fix his shuttle and bugger off out of this crazy situation? But I suppose he's a bit of an explorer, isn't he? I mean, he wants to see more, I suppose. But it does seem strange. It's like, I mean, you would normally assume that they would just be focusing on, getting the hell out of that crazy situation. But maybe. Really, it's his sort of, who's this chick? Stick around for a while, and then I'll work out to go.
Erin is on here. Maybe I'll hang around for.
Yeah, right. I mean, she is good. She's got that kind of Ava Green look, isn't she? Yeah, she's very, very, very pretty, and he's a handsome chap, and they're infinitely watchable, and the rest of the cast too,
And they were back together again in Stargate.
I never got into Stargate. I just couldn't get into it. I don't know why.
He was pretty good in that, and then she joined for like a season or 2, I think, as another alien or whatever. So they were back together. We're again working for.
Right. And that came after this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't in the 90s and 2000s. I wasn't really into American science fiction, particularly. Like, I think the most into any of that I got into was Next Generation. But Buffy and all these other, I mean, a lot of it wasn't on RTV, like unless you had like satellite dish or something, really, anyway, because we only had like 4 channels. And we weren't really flooded with a lot. I mean, there was a lot of things we did have here and there. I think Farscape might have been on Channel 4 from what I remember, which is where I would have seen it. So Babylon 5, I think it was on Channel 4. But there wasn't a great wealth of it. We had Buffy and things. Well, I wasn't really into any of that, Charmed and all that kind of, just sort of naff, I didn't like the special effects and all that kind of stuff.
I watched Buffy when it was on. I collected the whole series.
Yeah.
But the finale was, the series finale was a disappointment for me.
Seems to be a common trope, but I just never got it. Just didn't gel with me. Maybe I was just more into going out and getting hammered in clubs, and watching that stuff. But I don't know. Just it all seemed a bit sort of same. Like in the 80s, you had like Airwolf, A-Team.
Yeah.
Knight Rider, Street Hawk, and Automan. It's all very similarly. I mean, it's the same guys right behind, but it was all very similar. And it felt like the 90s was just kind of repeating that, but with like slightly updated special effects and things. It just, I don't know. I just kind of felt it was all a bit sort of treading the same water, just like putting similar characters in. Sort of different settings, whether it be science fiction or magic or whatever it was, and it just felt like the same sort of production, if you know what I mean. But I was much more into sort of British comedy TV at that time, I think. So I missed out, I guess. But like Farscape, I think, because this is a joint US-Australian production, so it's very unusual. Again, like Lex was very unusual.
I used to watch Lex too. It was, oh Christ, it was on like 2 a.m. here or something. It was like,
yeah, I love Lex. It's so bonkers amazing. It's dark and it's comical and it's surreal and very alien, yeah. And the guy is like dead but isn't dead, What the hell's going
on? Craig Charles was even in one episode.
God, I can't remember that. Bloody hell!
It was like the fourth season or something. There was like these killer robot carrots or something that were.
Yeah, we'll have to do a Lex watch along or something. That was funny. But I'm looking forward to watching some more Farscape, and because I think the last time I watched it, I did the last time I did a rewatch, I didn't get to finish all the seasons or anything, so I don't know what happened. Something happened in my life. It was just like it didn't happen. And when I watched it originally, when it would have been aired in British TV, I think I would have caught it sporadically, but I always remember enjoying it. And
well, I apologize to the 2 or 3 people watching this, or anybody in the future who listens to this, because I should have. I thought I had more retention than I actually did.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we have to apologize to them because we've been meaning to do this stream for a while, and we both got sort of waylaid. So obviously, when we watched it, which was a few weeks ago now, in my case, and yours probably a bit longer.
Yeah, like a month, bro.
Yeah. So next time we'll be fresher and more into it and more up for it, you know. But I know that you came straight from work as well, so you know, so I assume next time will be a bit later on, so then we, you know, get some chill out time.
12 hours and then
yeah, that's too much.
Hey, well, at least I'm working.
Yeah, exactly. You know, be grateful. But yeah, but we do love it. You know, that's
absolutely.
You know,
I wouldn't have bought the whole series if. But well, I don't want to talk too much about the future, but it's one of the series that sort of like it was like, it's over. This isn't satisfying. The ending we got, and then they went back and sort of took care of it for the fans and made the Peacekeeper Wars.
Well, you know, I mean, I am looking forward to doing a proper rewatch of this series, because I think it's so charming and fun, and it visually it looks great. You know, I know it's dated effects and stuff, but it still looks pretty. You know, it's nice to look at visually, and the characters are great.
Good.
The story,
yeah, absolutely. I was just going to say that. That's what really makes it fun for me.
Yeah,
the character, the interaction is great with this series.
Exactly. You know, and no, I've mentioned it multiple times, you know, about Blake Seven, but the reason why that worked was because of the characters being these disparate characters being sort of thrown together and having to deal with each other, and that works. If you transpose that onto other IPs, you know, that dynamic is an archetype that does work, you know, and it and because it's more recent and more, you know, up to date with effects and the character, and it's more comical and less serious and more alien. You know, it's, you know, has that kind of, I guess, more of a friendly old friend kind of feel about it. You know, that kind of comfortable zone where you watch it without feeling sort of, you know, this is going to be a dark story where you're gonna, you know, and it's all going to be very serious and po-faced, you know, which I love about Blake Seven, by the way. But it's got that more sort of relaxed feel about it. It's, you know, it's not something you have to engage on a sort of cerebral level, but it's something that you can engage with on a sort of fun. You let it wash over you, and it engages you through the charisma, really, of the characters, you know, and the situations I find, and you know, it's a great dynamic, you know, and it's again very visually pleasing on the eye, which helps. You know, I think it does help because it's not so bland or washed out or anything. It's very colorful.
Crichton makes a lot of pop culture references too all the time.
Yeah, and it does have that sort of Buck Rogers feel as well. You know, that fish out of water thing, which I love. You know, you know, modern man in a futuristic situation and being out of his depth and sort of having to use his wits to show he's not a complete useless twat. And he's a good actor. He's a compelling character, and you root for him, and you root for the team and the crew, and you know, you love to hate, you know, certain characters, and you know, they're lovable rogues. You know,
it's hard to believe this is like 21 years old now. It's like,
and it stands up better than most TV shows today because it focuses on the characters and the writing, and the production is quite lavish for the day, I think. You know. And it's entertaining.
So we would recommend this show to anybody who likes science fiction, good writing, good stories, and you know, it's I would anyhow.
And Hazel says it sounds like a fun show to watch with my son now that he's old. Absolutely, it's a definite family show. I'd say it's nothing licentious about it. I don't think nothing too violent. And it's got that sort of Henson quality to it. You know, it's got that kind of I think that's the sort of draw, the pull for the family sort of viewing audience is the sort of animatronic element, which is so much fun. And it's got fart jokes in there, so I mean you can't go wrong with that, can you? And of course, Chris Pesher says Stargate wasn't easy at first. And they didn't have Russell or Spader, but if you give it a chance, it will grow on you. I like SG-1 more than Buffy. Then again, I like Angel more than Buffy. Yeah, I think I watched Angel more than I kind of watched a few Buffy. I'm so out, but Angel seemed to be a bit more compelling for me. But I was sort of very casual viewer, like most things back in the day. Yeah, I might give Stargate. It seems like an awful lot of it to get through because it seems to be like SG-1, 2, 3, 9, 10, 12, 50. So we'll see. Oh, Hazel says he's 20 years. Listen, 20 years old, you're still a kid, right? And still love fart jokes. But yeah, but watching shows and following stuff with your mum wasn't cool for him back in the day. Different when they were a bit older, I suppose. It's like, yeah. Fart jokes, all in. Yes, sister, preach. Okay, excellent. You can't fail with fart jokes. You can't. So yeah, highly recommend. I think out of all these sort of similar kind of shows around that time, for me, I would much rather watch Farscape than Next Generation or Babylon 5. I did like both those in not as much as the original series of Star Trek, but I kind of did watch Next Generation when it was on terrestrial TV. But I think from all those shows, this one is the most unloved and the most and the less well known. And I think
Gets less love.
Yeah, I think it deserves so much more because it is so much fun. It's a good ensemble cast, and
I would say the same thing. Like out of those ones that you've mentioned, that I'd Farscape would be up there for me. I'd put that up there before Next Generation, even. Or
well, Next Generation had a propensity for sanctimony and preachiness and being a bit sort of cerebral, and there's nothing wrong with that. I like intelligent science fiction, but it's only so much of these sort of political machinations of warring factions and moralizing that you can take from a uniformed sort of future where everyone's dressed like McDonald's. I'm not berating it particularly. I'm just saying, for me, it lacked the kind of charm and fun of the original series of Star Trek, which I hold up as the pinnacle of Star Trek. And I think Farscape has that kind of sense of adventure and fun without being too po-faced or cerebral. It has some interesting qualities and elements in there that do require sort of an amount of cerebral input, but and draw your attention and to make you consider moral things, but it's done in such a much more entertaining way, and the humorous aspect and the animatronics add that, and the color of it, the palette of it is so much. And I love the theme tune, right? You gotta love the Farscape theme tune, which I adore. Yeah, so it's a neat bundle of fun. That's why
hello, Wookie.
Hey, good to see you. Hope Oscar's doing well. That little rapscallion, that is an endless ball of energy.
Every time I see Wookie, I think of Wookie Fever. Like that Boogie Fever song.
Maybe he did that on purpose. Hazel Fox says, was a B5 fan back in the day too. Was surprised to see Dallin in Lost. I never watched. I watched one. I think it was the second episode because someone mentioned something about the giant polar bears, and I never got to see the giant polar bears. And I watched the second episode. I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I'm out. So I wasn't on board that train at all. And looking back, I am so glad by all counts and purposes. Kind of fucked up. There we go.
I got all Babylon 5 on an external disc somewhere. I'm gonna have to rewatch again because that's fuzzy. I remember liking most of it, but
Yeah, I watched the first episode a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've heard nothing but good things, and I did watch episodes when it was on. Again, very sporadically because my lifestyle at the time wasn't TV focused. But
and the producer wants to do Doctor Who.
yeah, by all accounts and purposes, I think that he's a good bet. I've heard very good things about him. I've heard some not so good things as well. He's done some corkers and a few stinkers. So I don't know. Can't be any worse than Chibnall. So that's for me, that's a plus. But yeah, I find it very difficult to get into things. Like I had to get into The Expanse twice because the first time I got, I think, 3 or 4 episodes in, I was just like, I'm so done with this boring thing. And then I forced myself to watch it because more and more people get saying, no, you just got to keep persevering with it. So I did, and I was glad I did. I really did enjoy it.
Well, I only heard good things about it up until like the last season, or they had the.
Yeah, it kind of went off the boil with that somewhat. I hope when they do bring it back that they'll course correct it. But I understand that they're gonna do some massive like time jump into like the future, and it's all going to be very different.
Oh, it's still in production.
I think there's one more, and then they're going on a hiatus. I assume because of the time jump difference. I think I don't know, or it's cancelled or something. I no idea. No idea what they're playing. But yeah, it was even the last series. There were some really good elements to it that I did enjoy, but the pacing was so slow. And then they brought in this polyamorous crew, and it was all a bit, oh God, can you just stop?
What network's that on?
I don't know. I mean, it's very different in America.
It's probably something I can't get. That's why I haven't seen it.
I mean, I watch it on, I think it's Amazon here. I think it's on Amazon in the UK.
The same one that gave you the wrong order.
Bastards. How very dare they, quite honestly. How dare, I mean, like, why would you do that? Honestly, like, I mean, like, you can look on Wikipedia, Amazon, it's there for you. You just want to mess with my mind. Thanks very much.
Well,
and mess with my,
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, well, I've now got the list in order, so I can watch it properly now. So I'll screenshot that or something. So at least I'm, not going to be made a fool of again. Yeah, bastards. Yeah. Oh, Wookie Fever says Babylon 5 was a great show. It took a few seasons for me to warm up to it, but I did, and it was good. So, yeah, that's the thing. If it takes 2 seasons to get into it, that's a lot of viewing hours to get it, like, to finally get to the point where you think, actually, it's all right. But I do remember watching. I remember one scene that, because I hadn't seen it since it aired, but I remember one episode. There was a scene where they were talking about ants in a hill, and they basically said that, well, that's how they see you, like ants in a hill. So when you're trying to communicate with these things and you're wondering why they're not, it's because that's how they see you. That kind of stuck with me. I thought that was a really good scene. So anyone out there will know what I'm talking about. What was that? Polyamorous crew. Sounds like Lee is talking about the yes. yes, we were. Yeah, the last season it was oh God. And then that overpowered woman that I mean, she was an interesting character, don't get me wrong, and at least they write characters really well, but it just reeked of this kind of we all know that the writers are a little bit on the woke front anyway, but they managed to make a compelling series of diverse characters and stories, which didn't really revolve around the importance of those things. It was more about the outer worlds, the Belters and the inner worlds, and that was where the politics lay, and it worked. It wasn't about all this modern day crap, but then they had to put that in there some way. And of course, you got all the Twitterati going, "Oh, it's so brave and stunning! Oh my god, I love it!" It's just like, shut up. Whatever. Chris again. I was lucky with B5. The entire season was released for rent at Blockbuster. Oh, the good old days. And from then on, I'd purchase season box set and binge before it was even released in Australia. And Wiki says, I like the Vesta character. Great seeing Walter Koenig playing a very evil SOB. Just a great character. Yeah. I like the design in Babylon 5, the sort of Napoleonic look with the hair. I didn't understand why. I suppose it's like a parallel culture and another planet, which is parallel to ours in a way. I suppose in the universe that's so big, you're going to have similarities as well. Yeah. Anyway, I've waffled. I'm very waffly versatile. So what can I tell you?
Waffle friendly.
Waffly versatile. It's an advert, by the way. I don't know if you had that advert in America, but we had it in here. Waffles.
So, overall, then we'll wrap this up then tonight. But I thought pretty good first 3 stories. Right out of the gate. I hope.
Well, yeah, mine were, yours were. Yeah, again, it does sort of harken on the sort of nostalgia front, because I think we're crying out for great, adventurous, fun, compelling stories.
See you, Hazel. Thanks for stopping in.
Hey, thank you. I think it's just that we're so lacking in that right now, and just be transport away, have fun for half an hour, and colorful adventures and great characters and fun writing and stuff. And it's not much to ask, really, is it? So, I mean, we have to look back now for media to do that for us and relive some things that maybe kind of passed us by a bit, but we kind of remember it. But for me, that's the case with Farscape and things like Lex and things that I used to watch, and on the when it was on terrestrial TV and didn't have the media, in any format, the hard copy. So you kind of went by and you enjoyed it and then forgot about it. Now it's like we're so dried out on good entertainment. It's like, okay, remember that thing you remember watching back go back and watch that, because you kind of remembered enjoying it. So that's kind of what I'm doing, and it's great to rediscover these things and sort of delve into it somewhat.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some more faulty. I'm gonna get the actual disc if I can. Hopefully they won't be censored in any way.
Yes. Yeah. Now I'll get it secondhand. Get like older prints or something. First edition.
I was surprised to find that they have 4 people have posted them on YouTube, and they haven't been taken down.
Well, it was the same with Blade 7, until BritBox picked it up and put it on the BritBox service. All the episodes were there. So that's how I first rewatched it the first time around. That I hadn't watched it since I was a kid. And I got to watch the whole 4 series on YouTube. And then just before they took it down.
Copyright.
Yeah, well, it's only then when they realize, people are watching this, and it seems to be still popular, and we've got this BritBox service, and we want to make money out of it. So That's what they did. I mean, there's a couple of episodes still up, I suppose. They use that. They allow a few to stay up, so it draws people into it. I guess. I don't know. But yeah, and apparently now BritBox in America has Blake Seven finally after waiting for so long, and of course, naturally, you get all the bloody trailers and stuff as well, which we don't. It's like, what the hell? Not fair. That's not right, is it? Anyway, but
Yeah, Wookiee Lex was great too.
yeah, yeah, it was. It's very saucy, Lex. But yeah, I would, obviously advise this. My cousins in America will, if they have BritBox or intend to get BritBox, get watching Blake Seven as well and see where Farscape and Babylon 5 and Firefly were really inspired from, because that show, I think, was the archetype that I know it was based on Star Trek, but with an evil Federation and kind of mixing that with was it the Magnificent Seven or whatever it was, sort of Robin Hood in space or the Magnificent Seven in space or whatever, and but it's funny because it kind of fed back, I think, because I think DS9, the creator of DS9, said he was inspired by Blake Seven as well. So kind of, even though he had been inspired by Star Trek originally, it was fed back into Star Trek and DS9. So there you go. So that and Firefly and Babylon 5 and of course Farscape. Very heavily on.
Wookiee, yeah, me too. I'd like to get some hard copy disc of Blake Seven. I do have the entire series. Or files on.
Well, what I would say is like probably like most Americans, tuned in on, if they got BritBox. I'm not trying to advertise BritBox, but if you did that and if we got enough people watching it, maybe they think, well, we should release a US version on DVD. Who knows? I don't know how.
There might be one. I don't know.
Well, I think it's only available in region 2. So unless you get like a multi-region DVD player, yeah, which I think most computers do now have. But if not, then just get one.
You can check for these things to find certain codes to deal with the makes region free.
Yeah, I mean it's ludicrous. I mean, I've never understood it. I know there's PAL and NTSE or whatever it is. So there's a different sort of broadcast format. Whatever. Ours is superior, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have more lines per.
NTSC is like 525 or something like that.
Yeah, ours is 4 or something. Or 4.6 or something like that. But it's more condensed, isn't it? So it's the higher resolution. So yeah, I mean, unless you got like a multi-region DVD player or something,
right?
Yeah.
Hello, Noel from TARDIS.
Hey, hello, buddy. Typical bloody comes in last minute. Not that I was late at all today, at all whatsoever. Yeah.
I was just getting ready to wrap things up. No.
Yeah. Where the hell are you? Yeah. So I guess we'll be back after next week or something, and then watch some more Farscape. No. What are you going to do?
Well, that sounds like a plan.
It does. It really does.
And we will be like Boy Scouts. We'll be prepared next time.
Yeah. Or maybe we should do a watch. I don't know if enough people have it, to be honest. And that's the problem. It's getting hold of it, isn't it? These great shows that aren't so commonplace. It's the format wars or the stream wars or whatever. It's like, test the water, do some market research, see what people want. But I mean, we're quite happy to talk about it because it is such a fun show. Well,
I guess that we're going to wrap it up because I know it's getting late for you there. It was late to start with for you. So.
Well, I mean, yeah, my days and nights are screwed anyway, so I won't worry about it too much. To be honest. I'm still waking up. Oh
Well,
God, help me.
hey, well, thanks for everybody who stopped by in the chat to listen to what we had to say.
Please like, share, and subscribe.
Please. And thanks, Lees, or anything you want to
No,
add.
it's my pleasure. Obviously, urge people if they haven't already watched it to go and watch our stream with Alpha Omega on 40 Towers. We had a great watch along the other day. We watched a couple of episodes, The Builder and The Wedding Party, and we had Bowles Trek on and Noel
And
and Melina,
Melina.
and it was fun. And obviously, the funniest part was when Noel couldn't find the wedding party and found one version, but it seemed to be on a slightly slower speed. So it was like he was way behind, and then he was
Then
like
we
far too
told
far
him the
ahead.
wrong time, and then he was
Yeah,
ahead by 5 minutes.
it's like, I think I'm ahead of you, and then the episode had finished and we were still watching. It was great. Comic gold, comic gold. Then oh, that was brilliant. He was getting ratty.
It was
The
fun,
fun we
though.
had. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and of course, follow me on Twitter at Being Problem, and I have another channel called Ordered Audio Visual, which has VFX stuff. Well, not VFX. I don't know what to call it anymore. Sort of, CGI shit. And
technical work.
yes. So I've got my Michael Sheen Doctor Who titles that I did in there. You got your Ocean Man fucking scissoring song on there, which was repeated on Friday Night Tights the other day, which is great due to popular demand. That was funny. And I'll be adding some more stuff in there as I go along. I've got some stuff for the Rabbi from Another Planet to get done. I've got your title sequence to get done there, Alpha, and it's looking pretty. But I need to really buckle down with that one. I think because you get so knackered after finishing one project, you just go right and carry on. But it will be done. It will be done.
Absolutely.
Yes. So yeah, that's my stuff. I'll obviously go and check out the TARDIS Zone, the YouTube channel, and plenty of Doctor Who related stuff in there and other stuff. And we do a great show on Friday called Contact as well, which if you want to sort of preamble to Friday Night Tights, or if you want a break from Friday Night Tights, I'm not saying don't go and watch them because they're a great channel. Nerdrotic is a fantastic YouTuber, as we all know, and we love him very much. But if you want to pop on and watch Contact first and listen to us waffle on about God knows what, then please do that.
And I believe New Who tomorrow.
Yeah, New Who tomorrow, which is Saturday. Sunday, sorry. Today's totally. And I believe, yeah, we're watching Let's Kill Hitler tomorrow. God help us. So Joanna says we suffer through that one. That should be hilarious. He said, rolling his eyes through the back of his head. And we did Robots of Death today, which was great. One of my favorite Tom Baker stories, and that was great. So yeah, that's available for rewatch if you want to.
There's Robophobia.
Don't you mean today? Yeah, whatever. Like it's, I don't know what day it is for you, but now it's 2:14 in the morning here. So I guess I mean tomorrow, yesterday, whatever. I don't know anymore. Leave me alone.
I'm off tomorrow. Yay! Finally, I can sleep.
Nice.
Well, I'm gonna put up some more stuff again.
Yeah.
I finally got off my butt and did the collection stuff that I said I was going to post. I still have the DWM and also the Doctor Who Bulletin collection that if anybody be interested to see. It's weird looking at it. They're like 30 plus years.
Wow. Yeah.
I've had these, and maybe some of these will be worth something sometime. I don't
Well, I
know.
used to have the Doctor Who magazine issue with one with the transfer still
Oh
attached, and
wow.
I just don't have these things anymore. I'm absolutely like every time I bring it up, I think about it, I get upset, so I tend not to.
The ones I didn't
Ah.
start until like the late it's 87, something
Mm,
like that. But
mm.
it's
I've got
funny.
some fanzines like from the 90s or late 80s, I think. I got some odds and sods,
I
not as
remember
much as I
the
used to.
Doctor Who bulletin with the big covers. JNT must go. It's like, no.
Oh,
So,
if only they knew.
so it's
If
like
only they knew.
been nothing new.
Yeah, yeah. History repeats itself because, surprise, surprise, they haven't learned. Yeah. Mm.
Alrighty. Thanks again, everybody, for
No,
being here. Thanks to Lee.
my pleasure.
And we'll see you next time. Look out for us on the Twit Twat and wherever for information. What's coming up next? Night, everybody.
Indeed. Night.